what's up, everybody? You are on YouTube School of Magic, and it is your girl, Jennifer O. Watson, back giving you some simple tips on navigating life. So we are talking about 5 tips on how to stop being emotionally triggered. Okay, now we've all been in certain circumstances where we might have been arguing with someone, or we might have been in situations where it just didn't make us feel good. And so these steps are going to actually help you take yourself from zero to hero. I know that was kind of corny. But number one is actually recognizing that you have a reaction, right? So the thing of it is that you have to be cognizant and you have to be aware. If you're, for example, walking down the street and you're looking at flowers and everything is just beautiful, and a butterfly comes up and kisses you on the nose, and then all of a sudden something happens and you go from feeling beautiful and fun to just like wanting to go and do the most horrible thing to somebody else. Now, if you're not present and you're not aware of what's happening in that present moment, then yeah, you're not going to be able to recognize the shift. But the more that you practice mindfulness and the more that you practice being present, you're going to become more and more aware of that shift in emotion. And when you become aware of that shift in emotion, that is when you are able to regain that control over yourself. And number two is that you actually, in that moment, you get to choose how you want to feel. And the thing of it is that you don't have to choose, you don't have to be angry. Yeah, and I know a lot of times when we get in arguments with someone, but they said this, but they said that. And the thing of it is that, yeah, they might have said that, but how are you choosing to react in that moment? How are you choosing to feel? And you really and truly do have a choice in how you feel. No one else should ever have that much control over your own emotional state, because that emotional state is yours and yours alone. It does not belong to anyone else. Now, number three is that you have to determine what actually triggered that emotion. So if they said something to you, was it really what they said to you? Or maybe it might have been a past circumstance or a past experience that you had that really led up to that moment and being triggered within that moment with that person. Now, the thing of it is that that person may not have had anything to do with something that's happened in your past, and that emotional reaction that you're having in that current moment may not have anything to do with actually what they said, but maybe something else that you might not have dealt with in your past is causing this current reaction. So you really need to sit down and determine, is it what this person did? Is it this circumstance within this present moment? Or perhaps is it something that might have happened in our past that we have truly not yet resolved? Okay, so number four is you can actively shift your emotional state. So if you recognize that you are going from one end of the spectrum to the next, then how do you actively shift your emotional state? Well, there actually are, different ways that you can do this. And one might be grounding, putting your feet in some bare grass and just really releasing all of those negative emotions. You can do some deep breathing exercises where you're positive, breathing in the positive energy or plus signs, and you're breathing out the negative energy or maybe minus signs. And that calls for some visualization as well. Or perhaps you might need to count from 10, 10 down to 1, or you might need to just walk away completely from the situation and be alone for a second to regroup yourself, and then go back into that and say, okay, now I have some control over how I'm emotionally reacting to this. So now I'm able to move forward. But you really have to take an active role in that, because again, no one else is able to do that for you. And that responsibility lies truly in yourself and no one else. And the last one is really taking some responsibility in your reaction and taking responsibility in your own emotions. Now, a lot of times we do want to play victim in these certain times where we say, okay, that person doesn't like me, and I just have to accept that and feel less than superior to that person, etc., etc. And that really doesn't have to be the case. You have to take responsibility and what might have happened, how you chose to react in that moment, and then from there, after you've accepted responsibility, begin to forgive yourself and not judge yourself for reacting how you did. Because the key thing here is understanding your reaction and then learning from it, learning that lesson behind it. Take the time to evaluate that situation, even if it might not feel good to have to relive it. But that is really and truly the only way that we're going to be able to grow our mind and our spirit. Okay, so take some time to do that, and I promise you it's going to cause yourself to elevate even higher and higher, and to be able to go forth. And if that certain circumstance or person might cross your path again in the future, you've already prepared yourself in how to go forth and react and everything else like that. So these are 5 tips. Hopefully they were helpful. If you have any suggestions or if you have any questions about anything that you might have experienced, definitely drop those down in the comments below. Be sure to go ahead and like and also subscribe to my channel. And that is all. So I hope you have a beautiful morning, evening, or afternoon. I don't know, whenever you might be watching this. And I will see you all soon.